in 1876. So without further ado, let's continue. All right, so the political issues of Reconstruction is the first thing we're going to look at. So I think this possibly will be a two-part series because I can, with my current setup, I can only do like 5 to 10 minute video with each one. I think he's going to go a little bit over that one. Sorry if I'm not speaking clearly enough. But let's try to get as much as we can in the first part. All right, so the political issues of Reconstruction are after the U.S. Civil War, former Confederate states needed to establish state governments and begin reinstated in the federal government. And some big questions were like, who could serve in these governments? And the process for allowing states to send representatives to Congress was a hotly contested issue in the country at this time. And the president and Congress at this time had very different ideas about the reconstruction of the nation. All right, President Lincoln's plan about the reconstruction of the nation, it started with the Proclamation of Amnesty and Reconstruction on December 8th, 1863. And basically, the next thing is he didn't consult Congress regarding the Reconstruction. He wanted to pardon all but the highest-ranking military and civilian officers. And then he said when 10% of the voting population in the 1860 election had taken an oath of loyalty and established a government, it would be recognized as back into the United States. And keep in mind, one thing that did divide Lincoln between Congress is this down here, which is Lincoln believed the South never legally seceded from the Union. So the congressional plans next we're going to look at, and many radical Republicans, because there was the House and Senate during this time were controlled mainly by Republicans, were opposed to Lincoln's plan. These radicals proposed their own plan known as the Wade-Davis Bill. The goal was to punish the South by giving equality to freedmen, former slaves, as we continue this. So now we're going to talk about the Wade-Davis Bill, which was Congress's plan. So it required 50% of the number of 1860 voters to take an ironclad oath of allegiance and say that they never aided the Confederates, they never aided the rebellion. And then it also required them to have a state constitutional convention before the election of state officials. And it also stated that the Congress was going to enact laws to protect the slaves and the freedmen. The former Confederate states were considered conquered provinces. Again, conquered provinces, and I put that in quotes because they want admission to the United States. That's sort of where the President Lincoln and the Congress both don't get along. Lincoln says they never legally succeeded. Congress is like, oh, they legally succeeded. Now they're conquered provinces waiting to be united to the United States. Anyways, so the Wade-Davis Bill was created by Benjamin Wade, a Republican from Ohio, seen here on the screen on the left. And it was created also by Henry W. Davis, a Republican from Maryland, seen here on the right. So here we go. We're going to move a little bit forward in time. Congress begins to pass Reconstruction legislation. All right. So the 13th Amendment was ratified in 1865 in December, and it abolished slavery. Congress shall have the power to enforce this article by appropriate legislation. So basically what this said is no more slavery. Slavery is illegal. And Congress will have the power to basically almost be like the police and enforce this amendment by passing proper laws and articles and movements that they see as fit that help keep slavery abolished. The Freedmen's Bureau is another aspect of the Reconstruction period. It was established by Congress as well, another thing that they did. The Bureau it consisted of a Bureau of Refugees, Freedmen, and Abandoned Lands is its actual name. And many former Northern abolitionists risked their lives to help Southern freedmen. And they were called carpetbaggers by the Southern white Democrats. It was established by Congress in the last month of the war. So this is in 1865, the last month of the Civil War. And then we are going to leave here with the Freedmen's Bureau continued. It was designed to help poor Southern whites by providing food and distributing clothing, setting up over 40 hospitals, establishing over 4,000 schools, and treating